This is a quick video on how to set up the inputs and the symbols for the WannaBeQuant strategy selection. If you haven't already, you should have bought the indicator. It will be in your market expert advisors, which would be in here somewhere. Then you want to select the strategy, drag it to the chart, and you can apply it to any time frame and any symbol. I'm currently using version 1.1, and when you have applied it to the chart, you might want to just scroll this so you can see the names of everything and the general inputs. I'm going to describe now. Open new order if closed manually. If this is set to false and you close a position manually, then the EA will reset and it will place another position if the entry criteria is met. So if you are manually trading with the EA and you want to control it, you want to set this to true. Otherwise, if you're not manually closing any positions, you may as well just have this set to false. The base order size multiplier for all the strategies. This basically increases for all the strategies. So you can just simply edit this and increase the position sizing for the entire EA. You can limit the number of orders for all the strategies. This is necessary for prop firms like FTMO. And also the daily drawdown limits are necessary for some prop firms. The magic number needs to be unique for this EA, so none of the other EAs that you have installed can have the same number as this one. This setting right here isn't very important for live testing or back testing, but I'll just leave that as default. The strategies between running code. This is for backtesting and live testing. I'd recommend up to only 60 seconds because this updates the strategies to place orders or close orders. You want this to be as quick as possible, but doing any less than 10 seconds isn't really worth it, and it will just use more resources of your computer. If you're backtesting, setting this to 60 will increase the speed of the backtest, and I wouldn't really increase this much past 120 seconds, as that can affect some strategies' performance. The seconds till symbol is inactive. This is just a safety feature, so the EA doesn't try and open a position even though a symbol is closed. For the FTMO and some prop firms, it require you to open a trade every amount of days to keep the account active. So FTMO requires a trade every 30 days. So if you're using a prop firm, you might want to set this to true and then set it to amount of days. And then you want to set the symbol that you want to use to open the trade on. So I'm just using Bitcoin, but you may want to use something like a low spread pair, I don't know, Euro USD or something like that. The error 5126 is just basically a useless error. Just means there's a database that the EA uses, and when this error happens, it just means it can't read the database any further because it's already read it. It's just a useless error code basically. That doesn't affect the EA at all, and this is tested, so you can just set this to true. So here's the error, just for proof. Sometimes your terminal may disconnect, maybe due to Wi-Fi or I think a symbol not being active. So you can ignore this error if you want, and you may also want to ignore trading not active on a symbol for backtesting and live testing. The backtest performance criterion, the default is profit times the recovery factor, and this is good for getting high risk to reward optimizations for your backtest if you're doing a lot of optimization. And I don't recommend using the other settings as I haven't tested these just yet. So that's it for all of the general settings. Now on to the strategy settings and the universal strategy inputs. The first 7 inputs of every strategy is a universal input. You can enable the strategy here on the first one. The order multiplier is the amount of equity and lots that you are using per trade on the strategy. And then you can limit the amount of trades on this strategy at once. So the strategy will use up to 10 trades of 0.9% of the equity. And also the base order multiplier affects all of the strategies' order multiplier. The max spread per trade for this strategy is 0.2%. You can set this to whatever. This is just make sure the spread isn't like crazy, so you don't lose lots of money. Or just know the spread for the symbols that you're trading. The comment for the trade for the strategy is just the WannaBeQuant strategy, and this is number 8. And you can change this to whatever you want, just to identify what EA is opening what trade. And the strategy timer is the amount of time between running the strategy. So I'm running this strategy every 60 seconds. And for backtesting, you may want to increase this to speed up backtesting. So as I said, these 7 inputs are used for every strategy, as you can see. And I'll just scroll through so you can have a look at the inputs and the strategies. Now the last part of the video is setting up the symbols. For a quick setup, you can just type in whatever symbol you want. And if you have multiple symbols, you need to use this. It's not an I, it's not an L. It's a vertical bar on your keyboard. So every symbol needs to be separated with a vertical bar, either in this input section, or there's going to be a file where you can put all your symbols. The input here is limited up to 255 characters, so you can only put like, I don't know, 10-15 symbols in here. So if you're using more than that, you need to use the .txt file, which I'll show you in a second. You can add symbols to both locations, and they won't like create an error or something like that. You're allowed to use both locations. If you repeat the same symbol, no error will be caused. To create the file for the first time, you want to just apply the indicator to the chart. Okay. And then you'll see that it says symbols loaded, but it won't list anything if you haven't got like anything in the inputs or the .txt file yet. But if you're running this for the first time, it will create the files. And then if you want to find the txt file, click on File, open Data folder. Then you want to click on Terminal. And then you want to go to the Common folder, Files. And there should be a file called the WannaBeQuant strategy selection, C saves. So C is for Common folder. And then you should see each strategy's input.txt file. So the strategy 8 is this one, and the file will be empty, and then you just input your symbols here. When you're putting the inputs, make sure you don't put any spaces, like at the start or right at the end. And don't put like your stuff on like the second line. It might cause an error. So just make sure it's just like this. And then you want to save the file. If you need more help, maybe I didn't like describe something, maybe check out the blogs. I'll be linking that below. I'll be updating this on every update. Hopefully this video wasn't too bad, this is my first video, and I hope this helps.